Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live, not live, with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. And I am located in Oregon in the United States. So, we're going to go ahead and do this tonight. I'm getting this together, and this will post at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night, which would be my regular live time. But I'm at a volleyball game again, so I didn't want to leave you hanging. So we're going to work with the primary featured stamp set this week is going to be the Christmas Labels bundle. So it has this stamp set. And then it also has some coordinating dies that will cut out all of those labels. Okay? So, and this is one of the lesser expensive bundles in that, I didn't write down what the bundle was, how much the cost was. I need to go back and add that. Okay. So anyway, the combined price is like $48, so you take 10% off of that. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And I am, for my first project, in addition to the Christmas Labels bundle, I'm also going to be using the Embraced with Love stamp set. And this stamp set is part of the online exclusives. Okay, and with the online exclusives, they're changing how they're retiring things, so we will get a retirement list for online exclusives of those that are going to go away in December. And so you have another month or so before you need to worry about this one going away. So let's go ahead and get started. And I wanted to make a nice fall card with this. So we're going to start with a card base in copper clay. I think this is copper clay. I'm pretty sure. Yep, copper clay. And this is one of our 2023 to 2025 in colors. So this one will be leaving us at the end of April next year. So this is one of those colors I love. And we're going to be making a landscape card today. So I've also taken a piece of Designer Series paper, and I am using the Splendid Autumn 6x6 Designer Series paper. This was released in the September to December 2024 mini catalog. It is a 6x6 paper stack. And it has beautiful prints on one side, watercolor prints. And then it has textured, colored background on the other. So it's very, very versatile. Okay, so we're going to be using that. And let's see if I can find the piece that I actually cut. I think it's more toward the back here. I could be wrong, of course. Let's see. Well, poo. I know I had a couple more pieces left. Maybe this is it right here. Nope, that's not quite it. Oh, well. I'm not going to keep digging and wasting your time. So let's take a piece of that. And so I've cut a piece of that at 3.5 by 5.5. And we're going to add this to our card base. Okay. So we're just going to center this. It's going to line up on the sides. And then we're going to try and center it top to bottom. Okay. So we've got that. Oh, good, and we're not sticking out. Yay! Okay, so we can set this aside. Now you're going to want to take a piece of basic white. And we're going to stamp our image, which is this adorable bear and rabbit reading and having a coffee or cocoa. And you want that, we're going to cut this out with the nested essential die so that we don't have to. We're going to put this over like this. Okay. And so then we would color that up with our Stampin' Blends markers. And the markers that I'm using are these ones. So for the quilt, I've used light wild wheat, then the dark Cajun craze, then light mossy meadow, then light cherry cobbler. Okay. And then we're going to use the light and dark soft seafoam on the little book. Gray granite, light and dark for the bunny. The deep natural tones and medium deep 2 and 400 from that natural tones collection. And then the light and dark crumb cake combo for his face. Okay. So when we get him all colored up, we're going to cut this out with a nested essential die. And we're going to use the largest of the curved rectangle. Okay. So I've already done that. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me color because it does take some time. So here we have that ready to go. Okay. And I can set my nested essential die aside. And then the other thing that we need to stamp is our sentiment. So we're going to take Warm and Cozy from the Christmas labels stamp set. Okay, I'm going to stamp Warm and Cozy, and we're going to do that in copper clay ink. Okay, so let's grab our copper clay, and we'll do Warm and Cozy. And actually, I'm going to do this down here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to trim this off right here so that I can get this through my mini machine. So I think it's still, yep, still narrow enough. Okay. So let's grab that die. We're going to be using this die. And we're going to add that to our sentiment here, and it will just fit. So move that over about like that. And I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move, because there's nothing worse than getting it all set up and then having it come out wonky. Okay, so we've got plates 1 and 2, then our paper, and then our die, and then our plate 2 to complete our sandwich. Okay, so we've got that. It looks like that piece of mint tape is past its prime and I need to get a new one. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside real fast. There we go. Got that put away. And then this will just be a scrap for future stamping. Okay. So now we've got these two pieces. And I'm going to grab some masking paper real quick. So Stampin' Up! Has masking paper. And it looks like this. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is not my favorite masking paper. This masking paper is a little bit on the sticky side. But we're going to go ahead and grab our bear again. I'm going to stamp this down right here. Does not matter what your image really looks like as long as you can see the outline. Okay, then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut just inside the black line. Okay. Now normally we tell you to leave a bubble so you can't see the eye is drawn away from your cutting job. But in this case, because we're going to use this as a mask and we don't want any halos, we need to cut inside the line. Now you don't want to cut too far inside the line, but you do not want to see that outline. If you cut too far in, you'll still get, then you'll end up with whatever your stamping or coloring will have color where you don't want it. So we're just going to give this a quick fussy cut here. And there we have it. The rest of this really doesn't matter. Okay. So now, because the masking paper here is pretty sticky, I'll peel this apart. There's a little backing on here. So we're going to peel that apart. And then I'm going to take this and stick it on my pants a couple of times to get some of that stickiness off. Okay, so I put a little bit of lint on there so it's not quite so sticky. And then I'm going to put this right over the top here, like so. Making sure that I can see the outline. Okay, so I've got that on. And then we're going to bring in the Azure Afternoon. And we're going to put that down on our mat. And take a blending brush. And I'm going to lightly go over so that that looks like there's a little bit of blue sky around them. Okay. And there we are. So we've got that. And now when we lift our mask, we don't have color where we don't want it to be. Okay? So that made that really nice. All right, so now we can set this aside. I'll put it back on its little paper, and I'll keep that with my stamp set so that when I need it the next time I have it. Okay, so now we've got the Warm and Cozy, and this is too white for my purposes. So I'm going to take a little bit of Cajun Craze, And again, I'm going to put that on my glass mat. And then I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to try and put it a little bit darker at the edges and leave the center lighter. Okay, that's my intent. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So there's all of our ink blending done. Now we'll just grab a quick... The glass mat actually comes with a chamois, which I did not wet and should have, because it really keeps your, when you squeeze it out, it wipes everything off really nicely, but it doesn't leave everything feeling really wet. So I used a baby wipe, but you could use whatever. Okay, so we've got that, and now we're ready to start putting this together. This is a quick card, so let's... This is going to go like this, and this is going to go over here like this. So we're going to put this down flat. And I like to do that because if we mail the card, then we don't have too much bulk. So let's put this here. And then I'm going to put this about right here. So let's get that. And then we're going to pop this up. So I'm going to use 3 dimensionals because I don't like a saggy middle. And just put this up here about right like so. I have not pressed that down hard. And there's a reason for that, because I want to be able to move it if I need to. So now we're going to use the Natural Tones linen thread. Comes in a pack of 3. This came out in the new mini. And it might be on back order right now, but it will be coming back. So we're going to take and tie a bow. I love this linen thread. I would recommend that when it comes back in stock, you grab a couple of packages so that you have them. Okay, so we're just going to tie that. I've used my bow jig, which is my favorite way to tie bows. And then we'll set that linen thread aside, pull off our bow, and we're going to grab a glue dot, and I'll roll that glue dot up with my Take Your Pick tool into a little log. Okay, put that on the back of my bow, and then I'm going to put my bow right here. Actually, hang on. I'm going to put this down so that it's like right here. Move it there. There we go. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and add some of the faux glass dots for a little bit of embellishment here. These also came out in the September to December mini. And I think I'm going to grab and take these orange ones. These are actually Cajun Craze, Copper Clay, Mossy Meadow, and Wild Wheat. So I'm taking the Cajun Craze. And I'm going to put one there. Put another one over here. And then I'm going to put a bigger one again down here. And while they don't show really big, they do add just a little bit to the card. Okay? So there's the front of our card. For the inside of our card, I have taken a piece of 3 and 5/8 by 4 and 7/8 basic white. I stamped spending time with you is such a joy, and that sentiment comes from the Embraced with Love. It's right here. And then I took a piece of this same designer series paper, a 1/2 inch. This is from the top of my 6x6. So I just cut off 3.5 inches from the very top of the sheet. And then this is the 1/2 inch that I cut off from the very bottom. And then we're going to use the other 2 inches on the outside of the envelope, so that by the time we're done, we will have used all 6x6 with very little scrap left over. Okay, so for my envelope, you normally need about 2 1/4, so I just put it down at the bottom, and it's fine. I've got a little bit of white there. I'm okay with that. And then I actually pulled this leaf from Spotlight on Nature, and I stamped that. It's a beautiful leaf, and I stamped that in copper clay. So that makes our little warm and cozy card for today. Okay, so that's card number 1. Clean up here really quickly. Move things aside so I don't get ink all over me. And we'll move on to our next card. Our next card has a couple of sneak peeks in it of the new online exclusives. So we're going to take a look at some of those. Move this completely out of the way. We'll bring in the next tub. All right, so in addition to the Christmas labels bundle, we're going to be using the brand new Happy Hibiscus bundle. This is a hybrid bundle, and it will be available beginning November 5th. It is a 12-piece photopolymer stamp set, and then it has an 11-piece die set. And when you purchase the dies, it's actually called a hybrid embossing folder, so you get the embossing folder and the dies together. You cannot purchase them separately. They come as an item. And a hybrid folder is set up so that you can stamp your images. And then when you go to cut them, you take this die here, and with the Stampin' Up logo here, we find the pattern that fits, and that's going to sit in there, and it's just going to fall into place and lock in there. Right there. Okay, now that it doesn't stick, so you would have to hold it. But anyway, that's how it works, and then you can die cut and emboss at the same time. So we're going to do that. And I know you're thinking, wow, we've been working on Christmas cards, we've got fall, and now we're going to spring or summer. Actually, I did something a little unique with this bundle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave this out because we're going to need it. And let's bring in our supplies. So we have a soft seafoam card base, and this is the standard A2 5.5 by 8.5, as was the last card. And I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. We've got a piece of the Take a Bow designer series paper. Okay, this is a 6x6 pack, 48 sheets. You actually get 12 each of 4 double-sided designs in this pack because this is designed to make bows. Okay, it works great for lots of other things too, but it has a bow die that you can buy as a bundle. And I'll be showing you one of those in the near future. Okay, so we've got our card base. We've got our designer series paper, and this piece is 1.5 by 5.5. And we're going to bring in from the stamp set, the Happy Hibiscus. We're going to bring in some soft seafoam ink and this little scratchy stamp. Okay? So we're going to fold our card base up. Okay. And then I'm going to take the soft seafoam ink, and we're going to, I'm actually going to get a piece of scrap paper so I don't have to keep cleaning this mat, because I'm going to be going off the page and I don't want extra ink where on my card where I don't want it to go. So we're just going to randomly stamp this image. Notice how I'm turning my paper and my stamp. Okay, and I want to put just a little bit down here in the corner. Okay, and I think that's good. I'm not too worried about this side. So we can set that aside. And then we can add this to our card front. And I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal for that. Okay, and I'm going to leave just a little bit of a border on the edge there. Maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to start stamping our flowers and our sentiment. Okay, so I've taken from the oh man, my brain just went. Christmas labels. I've cut a Christmas label using this die. Okay, so I've cut that in basic white, and then I'm going to take the sentiment, celebrate the holidays in all the ways, and we're going to use some real red ink. Okay, so let's stamp that. Bring this down here where I can see it. And then make sure that's good and inked. Line that up. Hold it for a second till that ink transfers. I'm not putting a bunch of pressure. I do not want to distort my print, but I do want to get a good inking. So there we are. There's our sentiment for the outside using the Christmas labels. Let's set that aside. I'm actually going to clean that fairly quickly because real red stains. And not that that really hurts your stamp, but the sooner you get it off, the less stain you have. So let's just use our chamois and get that cleaned up so we don't have to worry about it. Let's set this aside. Okay, so now we have a piece of basic white, and this is really, it's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then we have another piece that's a scrap piece, and this is cut at 1 1/4, and that's just because I have my leaves. This is for my leaves, and these are for my flowers. So I'm going to take that large hibiscus, triple hibiscus stamp, and I'm going to stamp this in real red. Okay, and because this is a large stamp, I like to ink it upside down. That way I can see what I have. know what's inked and what isn't. And I can see right there I did not get the very top of that smaller one. So let's get that inked up. Okay. Again, we'll set that down and let the ink absorb into the paper and pull that off. Okay, again, I'm going to take my chamois and get as much of that red as I can off quickly. Those darker inks really stain. Okay, so we've got that. Now we've got 3 flowers that will fit inside these flowers so that we don't have to color them. We could color them with blends if we so choose, but I don't. So we're going to take some Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to ink up the medium flower, and I'm going to line that up and stamp it down. And again, I'm going to let that ink transfer. Okay, then we'll take our small flower here, line that up, and finally the large flower. Okay. Oh man. I think that's going to be okay. We're going to cut that out. I don't think you'll notice. Okay, so we've got that done. Now let's go ahead and stamp our leaves. And you're going to need 3 small and 2 large. So I've set this up in my Mini Misty, and I've pre-cut and stamped some of these, but I did want to show you how these work. So I'm going to take Garden Green, and I'm doing the outline image first. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to flip this around to the upper corner, and I'm going to take Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to ink up the inside of the leaf. And I don't like how that looks, so let's ink that again. Get a more solid inking, and then we'll press that down. And because we're using the Mini Misty, if we weren't happy with it, we could add more ink, but that's what it looks like. Okay. Now, I've already done the others that I need, so that you didn't have to keep watching me do that. And let's go ahead and wipe this off. I'm going to give it a quick wipe with a baby wipe that's handy here, and move that out of the way. Okay, so now we have our pieces, but we need to emboss this with our 3D hybrid embossing folder. So we're going to take our embossing folder, and by the way, if you just emboss the folder, look how beautiful that is. You can see all that depth. Okay. So we're going to take and add, this is the way I like to do this. I like to add my die. Got the logo here. I've put my die in with the cutting blade up, and then I'll sort of lay that on there, and then I'll flip it so that I can see, and I'll line up that paper, and as long as I keep just enough pressure, that die won't move because it's sort of locked in there. Okay. Get that till it looks pretty good. And then I'll hold it. Okay, now we need to bring in the big machine. Okay. And for this, we need the base plate, then the hybrid embossing folder with the paper and the die, and then we need specialty plate number 4. That's our sandwich. And then we're going to run that through. Spine first. Always spine first. And then we're going to pull this out. And now we have the magic. Okay, so we've got this. And these pieces are not only embossed, but they are die cut as well. And I don't know if you can see the texture in those, but they're pretty spectacular. Okay, so now we need our leaves, and we have a large and a small die for those. Okay, so we would just take those, and I would put some Post-it tape on there and run those through. But like I said, I already have them right here. So we've got those pieces that we need. Let's go ahead and bring back in our card. And I'm going to show you another sneak peek of another product that's coming out in November. It's called the Gold Twisted Thread. You get 10 yards of this. Now, I predict this will be a quick seller, so you might want to, when the catalog comes out, when it's released on November 5th, if you want this, you might want to jump on it. So I'm going to take and give myself a little bit extra. I want my bow about here, so I've got plenty now. And then I'm going to wrap this. I know I'm making this look really difficult, but I'm kind of at an odd angle for some reason. Oh, because I did it wrong. To tie it on the bolt. Okay, well normally I do it a little bit better than that, but this should be plenty, I hope. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to go around those 2 loops like that. And then I'm going to tie myself a bow. And hopefully I get this first time and I don't have to, and it's not too loose. Nope, feels good. Feels good. I'm going to spread those apart a little bit. I'm going to give this a little pull. And even doing it the way I didn't waste much thread, so that's excellent. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and get that a little trim. Okay. And then we can start adding our pieces. So we're going to start with the large flower. And I'm going to pop that up. But before I do anything, I'm going to stage these. Oops, and before I do that, I want to take some Wink of Stella. And I'm going to, in the white part of these flowers, trying to stay away from the ink, I'm just going to put a little bit of Wink of Stella to give that just a little bit of sparkle and shine. And that'll be just enough to catch the light here and there and give it a little extra something. Now, do you need to hit every one of these white spots? Absolutely not. Okay, so we've got that. Let's put a little bit here, 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 and there. Okay. So now those are ready. We're going to put this one here, and I want to put a leaf up here like so, and a small leaf here. I like my small leaves under my large leaves. Okay, then we're going to take the medium flower. I'm going to put that over here kind of like this. And then we're going to grab that sentiment, and that's going to go down over here. Okay. And so we'll put that up just a little bit like that. We're going to stuff this under here like so. Put some leaves. Let's see, I need to do something with this one. I need a little bit of extra room here for the leaf. Maybe that. Let's move this all just a bit this way. Okay, and then put this like that. Okay, so now that I kind of can see what I'm doing, I'm going to pick this up. And I'm going to put a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals so that I can still, there's enough to anchor it, but I can still shove my leaves under there without interfering with my dimensionals. I'm going to put this one down flat. If you have trouble with your Stampin' Seal getting moving, bring in your silicone mat and just roll it on there. And that gets that flowing again really nicely. So let's go ahead, we'll put that. I'm not even going to press that down. I'm just going to set it there for now. In case I decide to move it. And then with this one, I'm going to take and put two right next to each other, right in the middle, but not overlapping. Okay. So I've got two dimensionals there. And let's put this down like so. Okay. Now, I can see, since I did that, that I want to pull this and move it up here a bit like so. Okay. Now, let's grab our glue dots. And we're going to take a glue dot here and a glue dot here. And I'm going to add this up here, making sure that I stay within the confines of the card. And then we'll add this behind it down here, like so. Again, I'm not pressing. I'm just setting it down so that I can move it easily if I need to. And we'll put this up here like so. And then point this one down, kind of like that, making sure that we stay within the confines of that card. And then we're going to take one more small and we will add this down here. I don't quite have this one stuck yet, so let's get that. And Let's see how that looks. Looks a bit odd. I actually might move this over here. No, not real happy with that. Let's leave this one off for a minute. I'm just going to set it there until I get this so that it'll stop moving on me. Okay, so we're going to put this over here and overlapping that gold cord. So I'm going to put one right here between the gold cord, which is fine. Smooth that over a bit. Okay, and then we'll put another one here. And another one here. And, oh, and then I'm going to cut one of these in half. So I want to put one on each of these little sections here, because the beauty of these labels is that they cut, so they're kind of finely detailed, and I want to make sure that I'm supporting that so that it doesn't tear. Okay. So we've got that. I'm going to move this just a little bit. I've got it kind of wide. And very gently peel that off. Can I move that down a bit? Let's see. I want it to be about right there. Let's hope that works. I'm just going to put it right on there and see if that'll kind of straddle that cording like I want it to. Okay, so there we go. Now let's go back. Now that we have that nice and secured, let's decide exactly where we want to put this. Let's press that down. That is also moving where I don't want it to. Okay, let's get this in. Well, see, that's why I didn't press it down, because I wanted to be able to stick this under there. Oops. Okay, let's look at that. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's press it all into place. And let's finish this up. We're almost done. Okay. So, for our final touch on the front of this card, I thought it would be really fun to bring in the real red and white peppermints. These were back in stock. I hope they still are. And I'm going to take one of the large peppermints. I'm going to put that right in the center of my flower here. I need to fix my putty. And then I'm going to take a medium and I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to replace my putty and show you how to do that. So you just take and twist on your twist clockwise, and then you'll see that putty come up, and then release the pressure so that it stops pushing up the putty. And then I like to make it into a little ball. And then we'll take one more of these little peppermints, and I'm going to put that up here like so. And there is the front of our Happy Hibiscus card, which I'll bet you didn't think would turn into a Christmas card. Kind of pretty, huh? All right, so for the inside of our card now, I have taken from the Christmas labels, Hope Your Season is Filled with Magic. I used that same scritchy scratchy stamp at the bottom, and then I used the little stamp in Flirty Flamingo, stamped it off, and then inked it up again, stamped it on scrap paper, and stamped it again, so that I had 3 of those. 2 in the lighter hue, And then we're going to put this in here. And our card is finished. And the matching envelope has the scritchy scratchies. A real red one of those Happy Hibiscus. And there you have it. I hope you like that. Okay, so there is card number 2. Let me bring back in card number 1. Just right here. Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll just put this up here. All right. So there we have it. I hope you like those. I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek of the online exclusives and how much you can do for all the seasons with the Christmas labels dies. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Good night.